Alright, here's the scoop. I took a risk on this cheap Audi S4 listed with a transmission issue at my local auction, and the risk paid off, which is rarely ever the case, as you might have seen with the cheap Power Stroke diesel I recently lost pretty big on. This Audi ended up being a solid win at the time I needed it most. It came pretty loaded up with factory carbon fiber trim, an upgraded stereo, and of course its supercharged V6. The transmission issue was sorted in a pretty simple and effective way, replacing both circuit boards on the mechatronics unit and replacing its fluid. These cars are really all-around winners. While they might lack the top-end brute of an AMG or the handling characteristics of an M car, they're extremely usable, fast, and comfortable daily drivers. Buying one of these is like picking Mario when playing Mario Kart. He might not always be first, but he'll always make it to the finish line. But today we're going to upgrade Mario to Super Mario and give this Audi the edge it's capable of with a few quick modifications. Sounds incredible, right? Well, if you think this sounds good, you've got to check out Cove's Commuter 2 speaker, the only Bluetooth speaker that splits into two, so you can enjoy stereo sound without the wires.
I've been using Cove's Commuter 2 for well over a year now, and whether it's together or split, it sounds incredible and fills my barn full of tunes. And right now, when you head on over to the link in the description box and use code SC67 at checkout, that's going to save you 67% off your very own Commuter 2 or any other premium product you choose on Cove's website. Again, make sure you use that code SC67, and I gotta give a huge thanks to Cove for sponsoring this video. All set up in service mode here, which is basically just the whole front end of the car loose. We've got longer pins holding in the front end so it won't fall off while we're working. That's all we need, a little bit of space to be able to install our two pulleys. We're going to start with the crank pulley, and this is just one of the most awesome things about this car. It's not the crank pulley itself, but the fact that you can gain literally near 200 horsepower in what is probably a couple hours. So if we come down here, just gonna pull this off, and then we got a little bit of room to access our supercharger pulley. We'll get to that in a second. We're gonna just pull the belt tensioner down. There's one belt off, and we're gonna be replacing that belt since the new supercharger pulley has a little bit smaller diameter. That comes in the integrated engineering kit. And now to get the crank pulley off, it's just a few bolts all around, but we got to mark it first so that when we put in our new pulley, it all lines up right. Now we still got a belt around the lower pulleys, including the crank pulley, and at this point we're just going to loosen the handful of bolts holding the crank pulley in place. This is one of those crank pulleys that will just come out once the bolts are loose, and we don't actually have to use like a puller tool, so it makes the install and uninstall really simple. All right, to make my life a little easier, I just hooked up my scope camera and tucked it in between the fan shroud, and now look at that. That's like, I'm like a doctor performing a remote surgery. Look at that right there. There it is, easy enough. All right, now we marked it on the bottom here, right there. And that means that we want to look dead in here. One of these is offset and match it up with the new one. See, the offset one is probably where that hole is right there. And then IE marks theirs with an edge mark right there. So this is dead on the bottom. That means that this needs to be like this. All right? Yeah. All right. We gotta hurry up. That rooster's gonna get us. So right here I've got the pulley remover tool, and the upper pulley swapping this out for a smaller one. That is going to be our major power gain along with the tune. In order to do this, you have to have a proprietary tool. Luckily, IE does sell one, and it's just really self-explanatory. You slip it over the front of the pulley here, and I'm gonna go grease all this up before I start mounting it in place, but you put one half moon shaped piece here, another one on top, you connect everything tight, and then you're gonna press against the snout. Let's go ahead, set the camera up, and pull this pulley off real quick. This here, we got to go get the aftermarket pulley and we got to put it in the oven. I don't have an oven. I got a microwave. You can't put it in the microwave. Wait, what is this made out of? Can't put it in the microwave. Where are we gonna put it in?
Don't we have a pizza oven?
Pizza oven. That's a good idea. All right, let's see if this old girl still works. Yeah. All right, we'll give it an hour in there. This should be perfect. It's been an hour. I've got my oven glove on. Sage is standing by with some air duster. When I run up, I'm going to yell at him to go ahead and shoot the air duster on here upside down. That should just be a little insurance policy for us because we got one chance to slip this pulley on. So let me run over to the pizza oven. Ooh, nice and hot. Let's get it over there real quick. Come on. All right, Sage, get ready.
Yes, sir.
In position. Let's go. I'm coming. Keep. Oh, whatever. Come on. Go on. Oh, it's not one of them. It's not. Okay, let's not push it on if it's not going to go. Okay. It didn't go. It didn't go. That's not good. Dude, no wonder. That tells us a lot. It explains a lot what just happened. Every time I order pizza from that place, it's like freezing cold.
Yeah, it's cold.
That thing doesn't work. It's just a novelty. So, all right, we ran out to the store. We got something else to help us. It actually cost us less than the warming up. Don't show that car back there. Don't show that. That's secret. This was a $20 toaster oven. It says it gets up to 450 degrees. So we're gonna give that a shot. Let's hope that this. Don't get that car back there. I don't want them to see it. We're gonna hope that heats it to the right temperature. We're gonna give it another hour. If you don't get this on the first time right, it's a major hassle pulling it off, doing it again. So we want to do it right the first time. Take two. Don't let off that duster until I'm right up in your grill.
Yes, sir.
Go. Oh. No way. No way. I'm not doing it. Look now look at it. Look at it.
Look at the
Slip
smooth.
right on. Now we want to
Nice.
hold it in place. Look at that. That's the difference right there between real heat and fake heat. That kind of just cools it down.
Yeah.
So you can touch it now if you want.
Yeah,
no,
not
I'm
bad,
kidding.
not
I'm
that
kidding.
one.
You don't want to touch it. Right? You know, to everybody that says that I need a lift, you're not wrong. But this is a horse stall. It's not meant for a lift. Like, everybody thinks we just stick a lift like right in the center here, like where the Ferrari is. It would literally ruin the entire purpose for what this is. So there's a lift in my future, but for right now, well, it's just back to the good old bargain tool shop jack. Look how high that is. Look at this thing is like putting in work. When it comes to actually using jack stands, I do not use the bargain tool store jack stands. Remember the ones that were under recall. This is a different brand, and well, they cost like twice as much, but they are not under recall. So mentally, it makes you feel a little better about it. Get to the last nut that is holding the frontmost pipes up. We've got a ratchet on an extension with the swivel, really long. Sage is underneath, and we've got the air intake out. We've got the rooster chasing us at the same time, so we got to do this quick, but Just gonna try and slide it on the nut, and we're gonna get it from up top, and if we can, it will make this exhaust install a breeze. Dude, this guy's gonna get us. Look, I just gotta go get the parts that came in. Leave me alone, buddy, come on. Let's see if he comes. All right, I'm gonna turn my back, but I'm gonna have a, oh, here he comes. Come on, just leave me alone. I just got one last thing delivered. Come on. I'm turning my back. I'm now looking, but I hear him. There he is again. They were totally right, dude, about getting a lift.
Oh yeah.
This is, you know, not the most fun. Nice thing is it looks like a real easy install. What do I do with this?
Pull it out. Oh yeah.
No, it's all good. Luckily it doesn't weigh much, but geez Louise. Could you imagine if we had a lift?
Yeah, this would be nice. We'll get her done like this though.
Oh yeah, look at this. Look at this. It only takes an extra 45 minutes per pipe. Dealing with a little bit of temperamental weather, we got the old nasty droning exhaust out, and sitting next to it is most of our Army Tricks exhaust. There's one more pipe that connects all of this to the factory headers, but better speed this up because it's starting to rain. You can see where they lopped off a resonator there, and then the mufflers there. And this thing sounds awful, just at partial throttle, 2,000 RPMs. As you can see, good aftermarket exhausts have resonators. They have mufflers. There's nothing wrong with those, but it's the way that Army Tricks does it. So you see on the end of the mufflers, we've got these valves, which will open and close the flaps in here, so it will sound loud and amazing when you want it to. When you're cruising on the highway, you could close them, and it sounds really nice. And of course, I mean, you've got just this attention to detail from Army Tricks, and the welds are perfect everywhere. It's like a piece of jewelry that's on the underside of the car that unfortunately you won't be able to see, but you'll definitely be able to hear. This will be simpler going in than it is coming out since it's in a bunch of pieces. So let's go ahead, hop underneath the car on the non-lift, you know. We got to be reminded that we're doing this on the ground. It should be no big deal. And let's hear what it sounds like. Had a small little conundrum just now. We were underneath the S4 trying to figure out how to mount the Army Tricks back up in place, because Army Tricks usually use the factory mounting points, and well, that's most exhausts as well. And then I went back and thought about it. Remember these hangers? This is like a factory modified exhaust. Those are definitely not Audi welds. These hangers, which are here, here, and here, had brackets that look like this on them. But then this one had a totally different, much bigger, much like thicker bracket with bushing on it. And then it dawned on me, this is clearly not a factory mount. This is something aftermarket that the exhaust shop did. So this is trash. And if I need to order the brackets that hold in these thick OEM mounts, those are like $70 from the dealership, and they're like 2 to 3 days out. We simply just don't have time for that. So in one of these drawers, I think I got another solution. Yeah, right here. I'm building my own junkyard out here in the field of abandoned dreams. And if we come around the corner and take a look next to the 335 right here. Let's see. Oh, battery still works on it too. This is what they call a B8.5 S4. I guarantee you it has the same exact exhaust mounts as our last car. Okay, and yeah, there it goes. Cool. I'm gonna grab the mounts from under there. We'll go and put it on the other car. Army Tricks install went awesome. Look at these polished pipes. I love how you could just see the Army Tricks logos peeking out of the back here. Quad exhaust. Now you could actually pick different colors of tips. They had black tips. They had carbon tips, which might have been a little bit of missed opportunity after I show you under the engine bay. But I like the classic polished tips because from back here, you would think it's stock. From up close, you know we've got something special going on. Just look at how beautiful it is underneath the car. The vacuum lines are all hidden underneath the plastic panels that run the length of the car. I routed it, connected it to existing wires, so really clean install. Carbon air intake box here. This is what is going to give us that nasty blower whine that sounds just like a Hellcat. Before we hear what the S4 sounds like, I've moved it to the garage so I could hook up a trickle charger to the battery while we flash this software. We need to compensate for the extra boost our pulley is going to give us before we throw any revs at it. Otherwise, we're going to throw a bunch of check engine lights. Now, IE software is really cool here. They give you a bunch of different options. I'm going to pick 93 octane double pulley crackle. That one sounds pretty good to me, so we're just going to do that, and we're going to hit flash. All right, the tune is flashing, and while it is, I just want to emphasize how insane of a value these V6T, they call them T, I don't know what the T stands for because the supercharged cars are from Audi. You can get an A6 with this same exact engine under 10 grand. You could do these same mods, get it to darn near 500 horsepower. If you want to go a little bit more, you start messing with ethanol blend fuels, and you're going to get it over that 500 horsepower mark. And literally you could do it in hours. So the two pulleys and all the disassembly, reassembly probably took about 2-3 hours time. The Army Tricks exhaust, another 2.5-3 hours. I've done a couple of those on Audis now, so that's why it went pretty quick. We literally have built a 500 horsepower Audi S4 in about 5 hours. And again, I picked this car up under the teens. If you're really lucky, you can get an S4 around 11, 12,000. You might have an issue that you got to rectify like we did with this and the DSG circuit boards, but this is a really nice spec, and all of these mods just make it that much more over the top. And I really can't wait to drive it. The last time I was in an all-wheel drive launch monster was like my RS7. This isn't going to be as aggressive as the RS7, but it's going to be a lot more livable, a lot more fuel efficient, and off the line, probably like close to being as fast. And it's got a dual clutch transmission instead of an automatic, so it shifts wickedly fast. And we got transmission too, and. This is an incredible value. All right, transmission and engine tune done. After finishing buttoning everything up, I probably look a mess and I'm a bit sweaty because it's warm out here. Made it to Mexico, got it in sport mode, got traction control off. I foot on the brake, we're gonna mash the gas. There it is. And that's with the valves closed. I wanted to do valves closed so we could hear that supercharger whine, which is just awesome. When you hear somebody say, it's a totally different car after I got the tune, that is the definition of the Audi S4, especially after the hardware mods, that intake pulleys, the exhaust, and the tune, tying it all together. Well, this is literally a totally different car from the factory. These are a bit soft. When I say soft, when you step on the throttle, it's just very linear power. It's like the supercharger isn't even there. Now, you know the supercharger's there, and you get that gut punch that you would expect from 500 all-wheel drive horsepowers off the line. This is now a able competitor to the BMW M3 the C63 AMG, at least in my opinion, but with the modifications. And if you consider, I just bought a C63S AMG. I've been driving it for the last several months. It cost me 3 times the amount of money that this Audi S4 did. And I gotta tell you, it's not 3 times the amount of car. This car has 2 less cylinders, it doesn't have twin turbochargers, and it doesn't have a lot of the new tech specs that the Mercedes will have, but the drive is a lot more livable in this car, and it's really hard to justify all that huge top-end power in the C63 as a daily driver. This would be my choice for daily driving duty. Don't get me wrong, the C63S AMG is probably the nicest or second nicest car I own. It is incredible, but it is all top-end power. This you can actually have some fun with on the street, whereas that you really kind of need a racetrack to be able to open it up. If you guys have enjoyed this series on the S4 and want a little bit more S4 content, especially if you're paying attention during the video, you might know what I'm talking about. Let me know down in the comments section. Be sure to drop this video a like. And if you're not already following me on Instagram, where I've been posting updates to the Audi S4 before anything went live here on YouTube, well, you could go here and I'll be unveiling some pictures of my new project very shortly. So again, visit me at Sam Crack or just click the link in the description box. And as always, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in today. I'll catch you very soon.